Certainly not as difficult as Isaias and not as easy as Ian, but we have Idalia, and that's kind of what hopefully you'll hear me say this entire week. You may hear a slight variation, but Idalia is still now in the Caribbean and working its way into the Gulf of Mexico. Still a tropical storm this morning, 65-mile-per-hour winds. The pressure continues to fall. It was pretty stationary overnight, but now starting to get a little bit more of a north nudge thanks to Franklin finally getting a little bit more movement. Just so you know, Franklin now the first major hurricane and increasing some rip current risk for us. But let's talk about where Idalia is headed, because as we go to the north and into the forecast here this week, we're going to be looking at now a Category 3 hurricane working toward Florida at landfall, weakening to a Category 1, and then eventually for Myrtle Beach, you'll notice a tropical storm either right along the coast or just offshore as we go into Wednesday night and Thursday morning. We're going to overlay the cone and put some of the forecast models on, and you can kind of see the consensus right over top where the cone has been. It has continued to maybe shift just a little east over the past 24 hours, but most models in agreement with that line as we head into the next 4 days or so. So what you need to know, Idalia will make landfall as a hurricane in Florida, potentially now major hurricane based off the latest forecast. Tropical impacts are possible for us Wednesday and Thursday, mainly Thursday morning. Of course, the strength and track will determine a lot for us as far as storm surge, as far as wind, as far as rain. One thing I can tell you, though, we're still going to be seeing plenty of rain from this, regardless of which way this wobbles, whether that be east or be west. You'll notice hurricane conditions all across Florida and southern Georgia. We're looking at tropical storm conditions across Savannah, Charleston, Myrtle Beach, Georgetown. I have you in that. Even Florence at this point, we'll say the medium risk with tropical storm conditions still possible at this point. You go far enough inland into the upstate, into Charlotte, into North Carolina, we're talking mainly rain and isolated flash flooding as we go into the forecast there. So a lot to unfold as we go into your forecast. So let's walk you through some of the latest data here. Here's a look at the GFS. Notice this one favors a more up the coast scenario, which would give us a little bit more storm surge, would give us a little bit stronger winds. Notice heavy rain blanketing across portions of the PD. I think when all is said and done, 2 to 4 inches of rain, a pretty solid bet with isolated 4 to 6 in some spots. Meanwhile, the Euro a little bit further to the east, a little bit offshore, but still bringing plenty of the heaviest rain right along the Grand Strand. This is what we're going to be having to deal with as we go into your forecast, and of course a lot will change. You're stepping out the door this morning. Thankfully, it's a calm one. Rain is ended for now. Temperatures in the 70s. A look at today and your 7-day forecast coming up in just minutes.
All right, thanks, Andrew. And the best way to stay in the loop on Idalia is to download our First Alert weather app. Our certified most accurate team will continue sending you live video updates around the clock as new updates come into our weather center. Just search WMBF in your app store and be sure to turn on your notifications.